Excellent. Okay, everybody. Well, thank you for joining us. We know this is a postponed meeting, and so it's a little off schedule. So we really appreciate your flexibility with us as we've sort of navigated the craziness of the last couple months and are here. So this is a part of our annual, membership meeting. So the way that our governance is structured, this is the meeting where we approve as a general membership our board of directors for the 2022 year. And then every 2 years, part of what we do as a part of this meeting also is our a governance update. So we're going to provide an update on all of that, and we'll be seeking your approval of some items. So I'm going to open up the participant window here just to make sure I don't miss more people who join. But to kick things off, I believe that I had the October minutes attached in a file format that allowed you to view them. Does anyone have any edits, suggestions, or a motion to approve the October general membership meeting minutes?
This is Angela. I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thanks, Amy. All in favor? Wave, say aye.
Aye.
Thumbs up. We still don't have a great way to do this via Zoom, but any opposed, could you indicate with a similar sign? Excellent. All right. October minutes are passed. Katina does such a great job with those, which we're grateful for. Additionally, we're posting these videos on the Continuum's YouTube page. So if you ever do miss one and you sort of want to tune in that way, that's another way to do it. Okay. The next item on our agenda is the Board of Directors slate for the 2022 year. And I'm going to stop the screen share for a moment and I'll go ahead and pull that up so everybody can see it. Maybe. Nope, doesn't look like it happened. All right. One day I'm going to learn how to use Zoom and we're all going to be grateful for it. But
This is actually a lot more fun. We get to see stuff you pop up there, Christmas shopping, grocery list.
That's right.
Never know.
3,000 files on a desktop that need to be organized. Let's see here. There we go. All right. Well, part of the way that, can you all see it?
Yes.
Okay, I saw a head nod there. Okay. So the way that this works for our governance is that we send out an email or we connect to the general membership. This is done probably differently in years where we're meeting in person, but the way that we've done it is created a Google form so that anybody can nominate people for the board of directors. And so then our executive committee looks at those nominations, presents a board slate to the board of directors, which then comes to you all as a general membership body for approval. So this year for the 2022 board of directors slate, two parts to this. One is the overall composition of the board. We have 19 slots on our board of directors, and with the nominations, there were several people who were up for whose terms were ended but could be renewed. We had several nominations to do that, and so that's reflected here. And then we had one transition. David Swihart from Washington Street Mission is ending or is resigning effective the end of the year, and so that was a position that was sort of available, so to speak. So with that, the only change that's really that is a part of this is that in the spot that David held, Diana Kanabi from Memorial Behavioral Health is recommended to go in that spot. So So in terms of the board composition, David Swihart was on the board. Diana Kanabi would be stepping in that spot. And then the other part of this is the officers for the board. And so the officer slate for the 2022 year is mostly the same as it was for the last 2 years. Tammy Small has led us as a chair, and we're really grateful for all that she has done. The recommendation for the next 2 years is that Val, Tammy's waving to everyone, that Val Yazell would become our chair. Amy Voiles would remain the vice chair. Katina Coy would serve as secretary, and Penny Harris Powell would be the treasurer. So I'm gonna correct that on there. So that's what we bring to you as a general membership body as a recommendation from the board, and would seek a motion and a second for approval. Before we do that, one of the things that we do know is that there are some transitions coming. And so as those transitions happen and vacancies emerge on the board of directors will fill those spots as they become available. So with that being the case, we present this to you as it was approved Monday by the board, and would seek approval. But first, if there's any discussion, we certainly would welcome that at this point.
Hey, Josh, do you need us to approve this as a whole, or can we do parts? Because I don't think, being on the board, I could approve it as a whole, but I could like make a nomination to approve the officers as presented.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Angel. I think it would be good for just to do it as a whole if someone who's not on the board would be willing to take that step. Thank you.
Perfect.
Well, I'm more than willing to make a nomination that we accept this as presented.
Thank you, Jane. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
I think I heard Tracy Cunningham. Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion at this time? Okay. All in favor, could you indicate with an eye, a wave, thumbs up?
Aye.
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 Applause.
Aye.
I like applause too.
Aye.
I like that. That's good. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Any opposed? Could you please make that known in some way? Excellent. Okay. Thank you, everyone, and thank you to all of those who have agreed to serve on the board and to continue leading in the ways that you have. So we're again grateful for the time and energy that you give to this effort. All right, I'm going to go back to the keynote. The next item on the agenda is a governance update. And so every 2 years, one of the things that we're tasked with is doing an evaluation of our governance and then bringing any recommendations for modifications to you all for discussion, and then approval for those updates or modifications to the governance. We find ourselves in a unique position this year because we're in the middle of this strategic planning process. And we know that part of the implementation work for the strategic planning process will be a significant revamp of our governance that obviously will be worked on and obviously discussed with this body. So with that being the case, we know that we're a few months off from engaging in that work. And so the board's recommendation is to hold off on the governance update at this point, to allow the strategic planning process to continue, and to do that work of evaluation, and then to take the recommendations that come through that process to move towards a governance update in the coming year. So I don't know that we need any action on that, but we wanted to explain why we didn't bring a series of updates for you all to approve. Are there any questions or comments, concerns about that?
Dispatch has been updated.
All right. Chris, I'm gonna mute you because I don't there we go. All right, so our next item is the strategic planning update. So I know many of you were a part of the community summits that we held the week before Thanksgiving. So we're really grateful for your participation in that. That was an opportunity for home base at this point work to sort of share what they've learned through surveys, what they've learned through focus groups, what they're sort of hearing from the community and what they're seeing in our local data. And then begin to work at the community level towards developing the priorities that will be a key part of the strategic planning process moving forward. So that those summits included one part presentation about what's going on, what's being learned, and one part here's what people are doing elsewhere. Some of it was just here's a creative idea that other communities are doing to begin to get our community kind of thinking in fresh ways about how a housing first approach might look for our community. And then a big part of the community summits was also community conversations, people around tables, if they were in person or in breakout rooms for the virtual summit, had an opportunity to discuss what was presented, to share their concerns, their comments. And so it was another source of community feedback for the strategic planning process. And we got a lot of great feedback from the people that participated. So the next part of that process, two of the key needs identified, which obviously are things that we've known for the community for some time, are the need to increase housing pathways, right? So increasing permanent supportive housing, rapid rehousing, affordable housing, those types of needs. There's a subcommittee that's going to be meeting over the course of the next couple months to sort of do a deep dive on that. Another subcommittee is going to be meeting to explore mental health needs, behavioral health needs, where we are with our community, how other communities are approaching those needs, and do a deep dive on that topic. So all of that work will then help to lead in the new year to the initial stages of the draft of the strategic plan being developed. And we anticipate having that draft by the end of winter. So that'll be something, again, that'll be a point of conversation for this group as we meet in the new year. And we'll become more and more tangible as we start to have a document to work with and to discuss. And so that all is moving forward. Once we have that draft, the next year after that will be implementation. So taking that draft, working on it, working on next steps, and ensuring that piece of paper is not something that just sits in a binder, but actually totally transforms our system to address homelessness. So that's where we are with the strategic plan. And I guess should say alongside that too, Gina Lathan and Lathan Harris Inc. is also continuing to do an equity analysis of our system to address homelessness, other systems that interact with our system to address homelessness, looking at how other communities are really trying to develop strategies to address inequity. And so that work is going, and we anticipate doing some more community summits that will help to show some of what Gina is learning and seeing as a part of the process too. So all of that, it will be kind of woven together over the course of the next few months. Any questions about that? All right.
Hey, Josh.
Yes, ma'am.
You were talking about all of the different strategic planning type of things. With our coordinated entry, you and I kind of discussed a little bit the other day. As part of that, can we also include somehow of pulling in whoever, as far as when it comes to DCFS and Norman funds and keeping these families that end up homeless together? We're having a lot of problems with Mercy, not with Mercy, but at Mercy, as far as the people that end up on the coordinated entry list. By the time we have an opening, they've lost their children. Yeah. We can't house them. It's like this big catch-22. If there's any possible way, if anybody has any knowledge about, pulling them in, I would really, really like for you guys, somebody to be a part of that, or to get in touch with somebody that is potentially a part of that. I know nothing about that. Sure. So if somebody does have any insights on any of that, I would love to hear from you, or come to the strategic planning meetings, upcoming meetings, etc.
Yeah, it's great, Tracy. Thank you. Okay. The next item on the agenda is the emergency shelter system update. So as likely you're all aware, on November 1st, the overflow shelter opened. And so that operation is happening with funding from the city. Salvation Army is operating that shelter. And all of our emergency shelters are meeting on a weekly basis to address issues as they arise, help to continually improve what's available to people, and provide and to work in close communication with each other. So those weekly meetings include Salvation Army, Helping Hands, Contact Ministries, Youth Service Bureau, Sojourn is a part of those. Officer Jones is there from an outreach perspective. Memorial Behavioral Health is a part of those. So again, as concerns arise, and there have been some concerns that popped up over the course of the last couple of weeks, that's a group that really gets together to discuss those and to talk about action steps, and to provide any support that might be helpful to Salvation Army for that overflow shelter effort. So that work is ongoing. I'm really grateful for those partners coming to the table to discuss things, to work through challenges, and to figure out how to continuously improve what's available in that regard. So that's at the continuum level, our role in that. My role in that is really just to call the meetings, help facilitate them, to provide that opportunity for collaboration and partnerships. I know Captain Eddie said that he had a conflict this morning. Is there anybody from Salvation Army that would want to provide any type of update?
I'm here, and what I can tell you is our director is finally on board, and he started Tuesday night, and case manager is also working. She's down there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So almost fully staffed. We're kind of working through some glitches, but so far we're still standing.
Yeah, it's great news about the director and the case manager, Dee. So I know you are grateful to have that extra support, around the effort too. So thanks for that update. Are there any questions about any of that? Okay.
Josh, this is Dave. Is there anything we can do to help you with the comments coming from the city council?
That's a great question. I don't really know at this point. I think one of the things that for those of you that maybe don't tune in on a weekly basis, right? So there were concerns brought up about the overflow shelter, and frankly, those concerns were brought up through email. There was an email chain that involved several council members, that involved Salvation Army, myself, and the concerns that were brought up, Captain Eddie addressed those. What sort of occurred, what action steps have been taken, and then last night at City Council, that was brought up again. I think the concerns probably stem from two things. One, there were a couple nights where men did not access the shelter. And so, Salvation Army could talk more about that. But, one of the ways that the overflow shelter has been set up to function essentially is just to ensure that we create connections with other shelters. So that's been done. Other shelters are full, they're filling up. But sometimes there has been some challenges around the intake. And so as those challenges arose, as those tensions arose, there became, some situations that Salvation Army had to make a call on. And so they did that. They worked with that group to come up with solutions, action steps. They've worked in close collaboration with everybody, and they're doing a good job. So those concerns were brought up. They were sort of addressed through email, but then on City Council, basically we're brought up again, and people want to hear from Captain Eddie and myself. So there's sort of this ongoing bit, there's sort of this ongoing bit on City Council about, the professionals should solve this. It's the professionals need to do it. It's the continuum, frankly, I think a lot of it stems from, our community not having a good understanding of the role of the continuum, or my role as the coordinator of the continuum. I can't go to Helping Hands or Salvation Army or anybody else and tell them how to do their job. That's not the way that the continuum functions. But what we do is pull people together to say, how can we do that as well as we can? How can we partner together? How can we collaborate? So that's what's been happening. That's what is happening on those weekly calls. Folks are working together, and they're doing a great job. So I just think people don't necessarily understand that, and I also think people in our community are concerned about people experiencing homelessness. So anytime that there are some concerns arise, rightfully so, people are going to advocate, and we welcome that. That's great. And then we strive together to keep improving what's available. So some of the concerns that City Council are around, this operation should have been a 24/7 operation. That was the initial proposal that was presented to City Council. And we had a lot of conversation around that initial proposal. I invite you to go and read it. I can dig it up and email it to you. But it was a proposal that sort of emerged without a lot of collaboration around it. And so we responded to that by saying, like, you know what, can we get everybody together and work on a collaborative approach to this that might work best for everyone. So that's ultimately what was proposed back to City Council. And I think some people are upset that it's not 24/7 around the clock, but we did work together to put a proposal for what we thought would work best for the community, and a proposal that has some flexibility, so that there's ways to meet gaps that exist in our community, through that proposal. So that Dave, that's probably a lot more than what you're getting at, but I think this is this is the nature of this work in this community, and I think community advocates have a significant role, and we celebrate that role. We're grateful for that role. We need our community to advocate for the best possible outcomes for people who experience homelessness. We also recognize that housing is what ends homelessness. And that was a key part of our response to the initial proposal, is to say, if we're going to spend 1.2 million over the course of 2 years, could we spend 800,000 on that on housing solutions? Could we, could we really, change the way we as a community address homelessness? So that's what we're working to. Obviously, as a community, we're still in the midst of system transformation, right? We need a really strong system in place that encompasses diversion, as Tracy alluded to earlier, that really can do everything it can to help keep people from becoming homeless in the first place. But then obviously we know that as a community, we have significant gaps when it comes to permanent supportive housing, rapid rehousing, and that creates some tremendous challenges for our emergency shelters, our transitional housing providers, our outreach workers. So it's going to take us as a community, and the strategic plan, I truly believe, will help lay that out in a way that the whole community can understand. It's going to take all of us to work together. So I just hope we don't, beat each other up in the process. I think we can work together. We can improve what's available. We really can take significant strides forward. But unfortunately, sometimes it feels like the way to get there is to constantly take others down along the way, which I just, there's some toxicity to that I think is really unfortunate. So
I agree with you. And I guess what I was getting at was more of, if there was anything that this group could do to reach out to those city council members, and I would encourage all to do that, so that they learn what we're doing and the successes we're having, even though they may not see it at this point.
Yeah. So I apologize for my 10-minute ramble, but absolutely, any time that you feel confident and comfortable to contact your council member, and to advocate for the work that's going on and the need for more resources to continue work, that is always welcome. Absolutely. And that I think my ramble kind of lends itself well to, I'll skip over agency updates for just a quick moment and say, I want to skip to the community ambassador training. And I believe we have Ronnie Norton on the call. The community ambassador training is something that the community education task group has been discussing for quite some time. And over the last couple months, and you may remember a few months ago, we put out a request for proposals for some communication support. And through that, we were able to contract with Strategic Allied and Ronnie Norton for 4 months to help us on some of these initiatives that we've been talking about and working on. And the community ambassador was a key part of what we were trying to accomplish. And I'd love for Ronnie to talk about it, to talk about how you access it and where that project is, if you're willing.
Sure, Josh. Yeah, thank you. The community ambassador program, I think middle of summer is whenever we started with the education committee, started talking about, okay, how's this going to look? How's this going to feel? We knew that the goal was to educate on homelessness and just help people understand more of some of the issues and solutions. And that was a big part of this. So we set a date to have it published on the 18th of November. And so the training is now live. We've had 31 people complete the training. We've had several more start the training and not finish. And I think part of that is it is an investment of time. It's about an hour long. There are quite a few videos that do a really great job of explaining some of the subjects that are discussed in the training. Josh, I have the screen pulled up here. Would you mind if I kind of just show the training a little bit for a quick second? Do we have time for that? If not, I can talk about how to access it. And
we absolutely do. Yeah, go ahead and see if it'll let you share at this point.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Yep. I think it's gonna let me. Okay. Can everyone see this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Don't mind if there's other stuff going on my computer, but okay. So yeah, just a quick run through. So this is the ambassador training. We chose this, it's called Typeform. And what we wanted was it to be, we wanted it to be interactive and kind of engaging for the people who are learning about this, with the hopes that not only, we would have people from the Lincoln Library, for example, they required it for all their staff to take this training. So not only people like that are interacting with this every day, but even civilians, people who want to learn more. So yeah, it just goes through like the subjects like the crisis response system. We've got several questions on that. It explores, rapid rehousing. What does rapid rehousing do? How does that work? Starts with coordinated entry. We explain the, youth homelessness and what does a photo ID mean to the people who are experiencing homelessness, mental health, and addiction. I mean, we really tried to touch on a lot of different subjects. So yeah, we also pulled some of the data from the home base, the consulting group, and really kind of started with that. But we've had wonderful feedback so far on this training and how you access it. So you can access it on the HCoC, the Heartland Continuum of Care website, and it'll pull you straight to the front screen. And obviously you guys won't, and whomever takes it won't get this view. They'll have more of this view. That was kind of the back end we were looking at there, but it's kind of fun, goes through, but kind of have to enter in. And this is a great way that we get, like their email address so we can contact them. They get a certificate whenever they finish it. There's also t-shirts that the education committee spent some time putting together, which I think they're really cool. So yeah, that's the ambassadors training. Did I miss anything? I tried to do a.
I think that's great. And I did put a chat in the, I put a link in the chat box. So we would really love, and I guess, maybe, is there anybody that has already taken the training that would want to talk about how you experienced it?
I did go through it. And I also worked with the group when we put it together. And it flows easily. There's a section on myth or fact, and something is stated about maybe some common misconceptions on homelessness. I found that section interesting. I learned so much. I mean, I've been with this group and working with the education group, and every time I went through the program, which I did several times, I learned something new. So, and that's from somebody myself, who knows a little bit about what you guys do compared to some of the general public. So I think it's extremely valuable.
We would love for, thanks, Jane. We would absolutely love for all of you to check it out and to recommend it, to share it. That team worked incredibly hard on it, and I think it's a fantastic end result. And then the next thought is, like, what do you do next with it, right? Do you do a deep dive on other things? I think Ronnie really helped us to find that format, and I think the format can be really effective and can lend to further trainings as well. So again, just I'm incredibly grateful for the work that team and everyone involved with that put in.
Josh, I don't know, is there a way that we can reach out to like groups, like say churches, all the churches in Springfield, and send them something to try to get their staff to view that? Because the library did that, but I'm just thinking hospitals, schools. I mean, it would just be,
yeah,
I don't know, something that could be sent out to a group to do.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a way to do that.
Several of those groups are a part of the general membership. I think we'll keep to kind of post it out there. But I think, after the initial wave, I think one of the key things that would be the most beneficial is for, you who are a part of a faith community or a Rotary Club or, any other social group to take the training and to give a personal recommendation to, the people around you, I think is going to be the most effective way. But we're going to continue to push it out and to try to get as many folks to take it. And so we would love for it to not just come for us, but for you to say, like, hey, I'm a part of this. I took this. It really has value. And I think, if you all could help us with that, I think that would go a long ways.
And this is Summer from the Lincoln Library, and I'll just reiterate, that's what I did. I was on the team that helped it and was honestly just really proud of it. So our director and just required, said I suggest that we make this mandatory for all forward-facing folks and all of the managers who are in charge of creating policy. And she took it herself and agreed, and we've had a number of folks be able to take it. So
yeah, that's awesome, Summer. And I see Carolyn said in the chat that she's going to have her staff at AgeLink do it as well. So that I think that's incredible. Yeah, I think that would be a great way. And then, yes, Tracy.
I was just going to say, kind of jumping on to what Tammy was saying, is there any way that we could put on our not our Facebook, but like our actual website, like promoting, these are the community ambassador churches. These are the businesses who have completed the community ambassador trainings. And, that maybe just a little bit of a star achievement for them, just to say, we've done this for our community.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Ronnie, we should chat with the team about that and figure out a way to do that. That's awesome.
I think that would be an incentive for other groups to do it. I mean, if they see that, this church had all their staff do it, then that's, or, I think it's awesome that the library has done that, but a lot of social service agencies really need to have their staff do that too. But great work, everyone, on that. That was, I know, a long project, but it sounds like it's going to be very helpful to the community.
Our HUD rep, I sent it to her and said, hey, check this out. Tell me what you think. And she's responded, I wish every had something like this. So I thought that was high praise for the work that team did as well. So, so again, yeah, please check it out, share it. And again, thanks to everyone involved. My internet connection is unstable, so if you can't hear me, I apologize.
We noticed. You really need to work on getting your mouth to move at the same time as the words, Josh. It's probably be dubbed, you know.
I'll start writing it in the chat. Okay, so that a task group update. I'd love to create some space for agency updates as we move forward. Are there any agencies that have any updates they'd like to make?
I'll make an update for Mercy Communities. We have a little bit of a staffing shortage right now. Everybody's still employed, but we have 2 people that are out on extended leave, and they're case managers. So our programs are pretty much full except our rapid rehousing, but with 1 case manager and 1 program director left, I don't know that we're going to be able to house anybody else for the remainder of the year until the rest of our staff come back. So I just wanted to let you guys know, because I know a lot of people like to refer clients to us. It's probably not going to happen for the rest of the year. And I hate making that update. Sorry.
We understand.
This is Melinda Hubley from Land of Lincoln. And we recently, in the past 3 months, set up a help desk at the Sangamon County Courthouse outside of the courtroom where the evictions are being heard. So we were there on Friday mornings. We get there about 8:30 and we're there until about 11 a.m. And so when we're there, individual or tenants who are wanting help with the evictions that they're facing can sign up for our services that way. And it's a way to streamline them and have them know that we're present and able to help, and also cut through the red tape of them contacting our legal advice and referral hotline and waiting in the queue to be called back. In terms of an update we're seeing from the court system, is that many landlords are not willing to wait for the court-based rental assistance or the other rental assistance to come through. We've also had several clients recently who have gotten their landlord on board initially to apply for that rental assistance. And then because of the amount of time it's taking to process, their landlords are threatening or in the process of trying to withdraw their portion of the application. And we're seeing that it's taking about 4 to 6 weeks. It's a lot of money that the landlord is likely leaving on the table, which some kind of shocks me that that's happening. And it's also very frustrating. On a positive note, since I started with a positive and had a negative there in the middle, is that we recently had a caseworker join our team of attorneys at our office. And so our caseworker will be trying to assist our tenants who are facing eviction with trying to secure alternative housing, fill out those applications, or try to help them apply for the rental assistance.
Yeah. Melinda, thank you for that update, and thank you for the work that you all are doing too. We're really grateful. Okay. All right. Are there any other task groups that would like to provide an update at this point? Okay. For old and new business, one of the things I want to make you aware of is that many of you likely saw that the that the state of Illinois has created an interagency council on addressing homelessness, and has appointed a state chief of homelessness, who is Christy Haley. And so she has recently begun in her role and is really ramping up that work. As part of that work, they're going to do a series of listening sessions across the state. And one of those is going to be in Springfield. It's going to be next Thursday, December 9th from 3 to 4:30. And I'm gonna email this out to the whole general membership. So if you get our general membership email, Val, you'll
That's why I'm writing it down, Josh.
Salvation Army is going to host that listening session, and so it's it's really exciting. Obviously we're working on this at a local level, but to have the state really working to harness its resources in a similar direction, same language, right? We're all working towards this idea of functional zero, and making the experience of homelessness rare, brief, and non-recurring. So to have the state, not many states have taken the step of formalizing their efforts in this type of way. So I think it's a reason to be proud of the work that our state is doing. And I think in the end, it's just going to be an opportunity for us to tap into more resources and more strategy across the state. So I think it's a really exciting development. If you're interested in that, there is going to be a hybrid opportunity as well. So if you're not comfortable coming in person, obviously we're all paying close attention as other variants emerge. But so that'll be an opportunity. And then for those who do come in person, seating is going to be 6 feet apart. There's a limited number of in-person seats. So we'll be sending that out to everybody, but I certainly would encourage you to come and hear more about the state's effort and to give your voice to what you're hoping could emerge from that as well. Is there any other old or new business that anyone would like to bring forward at this point?
I'd just kind of like to say, with this being the end of the year and kind of end of my term as president, that this group has come together and been very cohesive over the last couple of years with Josh at the helm. And I just really, with the strategic plan in place and just getting the information from the community, it's just been a great joy to see what's happened over the last couple of years. I'm just so happy to see where we're headed and that everyone seems to be on the same team.
Tammy, I think I speak for everyone and say, Amy, you do it. Yeah, you're going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you for your leadership in the last couple of years. You have been amazing. And before that, you were secretary. So you've been on the board for quite some time, and you just have done an amazing job leading us through a lot, working really closely with Josh, and Josh has done a fantastic job. We're so blessed to have him, but we were also very blessed to have you. So thank you very much. Did that cover it, Josh?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Absent the part of me, that's pretty much more or less what I was going to say. That's really good. We're grateful. All right. Well, everyone, this will conclude our annual meeting and our meetings for the 2021 year. We'll look forward in 2022. We'll be emailing out a calendar. Our plan will be to continue on the third Thursday of each month. Our plan for the foreseeable future at this point is to continue on Zoom. And then obviously we'll continue to monitor that to see when an in-person type of meeting will be doable again. But so our next meeting will be the third Thursday in January. You'll receive a schedule through the general membership email, and then again we'll be meeting through Zoom at that point. So again, we're really grateful for your work. I had this on my new business list and I forgot to mention it, but one of the things that you'll also be receiving over the course of the next month is an opportunity to renew your general membership or your and to recommit as an organization to being a general member. That helps us to keep a roll for voting for general membership purposes. So you'll be receiving it'll be a quick Google form. I promise it won't take longer than 5 minutes, but it'll be an opportunity for you to keep your name on the general membership list, your organization on the general membership list, and then to also share if there's any other ways that you'd like to participate on any teams. So that will be coming your way as well. All right, that's the end of my updates and my new business. And again, thank you all for being here today and being a part of this work. We're grateful for you. Have a great day.
Don't forget.
Happy holidays.
Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone.
Merry Christmas, all.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Hey,
Yes.
for anyone that's involved in coordinated entry work, we invite you to stay on the call. Yes, thanks, Tracy, for that reminder. Appreciate it.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays, Reggie.